Hey, listen, my name is DJ Strick, and I thank you so very much for being a part of Strick City Live. I don't have a rhythm to this yet, but I appreciate you watching anyway. I get an opportunity to talk to some of my great friends about what they're doing, their business, and all things that they are. If that makes sense to you, you're in the right place. I have a friend of mine who happens to also be one of my clients. I get a chance to help her create content, and she is good at what she does. From real estate to content creations to being a home guru. We're gonna figure out what this guru thing is about these homes. Maybe she can give us more information so we can contact her for her to do guru stuff for all of us, right?
Yeah.
None other than the person everybody in Birmingham knows, Miss Porshe Smiley.
Hi.
What's going on?
Hello, how are you?
So the last name fits because most of the times when I see you, you're smiling all the time.
Yeah, I think that's like the proper response for like when you feel awkward. Just like
You just smile?
smiling nod.
So you feel awkward most of the times when you're around me?
Well, you would make an
I mean,
introduction. The cameras were rolling, so it's kind of like a,
Can I start with this guru, like home buying guru?
Mm-hmm.
Explain that to me.
Okay, so I am 10 toes deep into everything real estate.
Okay, and that whole 10 toes deep is so youthful.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. Go ahead.
So, I work with sellers, I work with buyers, I work with people that want to invest, but I recently got into luxury leasing, which for a lot of people could be like the oxymoron for real estate agents. It's like, why would you help somebody find a rental or get into leasing when you're supposed to be helping people become homeowners? Well, the market is crazy and everything is adjusting. So I just want to be in a position to help people with housing, period. So whether you're looking to rent because you're not ready to buy or looking to buy, sell, or invest, hey, I'm Porshe Smiley and I could possibly help you.
So can you help me if I need to get into like a Section 8?
That's a great question.
The answer to that question is probably no.
I don't think so.
It's okay to say no. It's all right. That being said, you can help people if they're looking to rent a property, if they're looking to buy a home or sell a home. They need to call the guru.
The housing guru.
Which is Porshe Smiley.
The Porshe Smiley.
I didn't say the, but I apologize. I'll add that next time. The Porshe Smiley could be called for all of that. Porsche, how did you even get into real estate?
Oh, so I think when the recession happened, everybody just went through like a midlife crisis of like change.
Okay.
And so that change for me was leaving corporate America. And after being in corporate America for 10 years, I worked in supply chain. And I just wanted to do something completely different. My friend at the time, Jeremy Norman, was a real estate agent turned broker. He had a small brokerage in Atlanta. That small brokerage turned into now the biggest.
Jeremy is like a legend in real estate right now.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but who can't know him?
Yeah. So what once was a small brokerage during the pandemic has now turned into the largest minority brokerage in the, I want to say, Alabama, Georgia, South region.
He's got real estate in Houston, right?
Yeah, he's doing his thing. So
big shouts out to you, Jeremy. We need to talk.
I remember calling Jeremy like, hey, I don't know what I need to do to get in real estate, but I'm about to do it. So I just took the test. I failed it twice. I wasn't discouraged. I just continued to like study. I quit my job, then I took it seriously.
Right.
And I was like, I have to make it because I quit my job to do this.
Right.
Yeah, and then I fell flat on my face for the first 2 years. I didn't sell anything.
Wow.
Nothing. Nada. Yeah.
How many years?
2 years with 365 times 2. That's like
a lot of
700
days.
and something days. Yeah, nothing. I depleted my savings, touched my 401k. It was a learning experience.
Do you think that time prepared you like even more for what you're doing now?
In more ways than 10, for sure. I don't mean to get too spiritual, but that's just who I am now. I think God was like showing me something in that, where he took away everything that I relied on as a source, and I had to find out that he is my source.
Gotcha.
And my resource. So yes, I didn't sell houses for 2 years, but also I grew spiritually in a way that like is invaluable. Yeah.
What would you tell people, because you mentioned the spiritual part of that, what would you tell people that are going through like a tougher time for themselves based off what you experienced? Like they may not be where they want to be. They have dreams, they have aspirations, but they're not exactly where they want to be right now.
Yeah. So if you're experiencing anything like me that seemed like failure after failure after failure, it seemed like God was stripping everything that made me me. I feel like I almost lost my identity. I was known for being like this bossy corporate lady and traveling the world to like not knowing how I was going to eat. God provided food, but like not knowing how my bills would be paid really.
Wow.
And so if you're going through that, I had to stop and like realize why this was happening and totally understand that God was trying to get my attention. He was really trying to get my undivided attention. And that's exactly what happens when you don't have anything or anyone to call on but God.
Right.
And so once I realized that that's what it was, he wanted to silence the noise, take away all the things that were distracting me because he had a mission for me. I gave it up willingly. Like, my perspective changed. I stopped trying to be in control of my future. I started to get quiet, silence my thoughts, sit with God, and try to listen to what he wanted me to do.
I got you. Let me ask you this question. This would be personal to you. Going through what you have to go through professionally for you, how were you able to balance some personal, I would say setbacks, like death in the family, death of your cousin and all of that? How are you able to handle all those things while you were still trying to find your way professionally?
Wow, that is a good question. And honestly, not to sound like the holier than thou one, but God really gives you peace amidst the chaos.
That's true.
He really gives you, strength when yours ends. That's where his strength begins. And, not to sound like a broken record, but I really had to lean into my faith. I really had to depend on God when I didn't know how I was going to get through certain situations, or watching my uncle cry because he lost a child, and I felt like I lost a brother. Like we grew up like siblings,
right?
And that just wasn't easy. And I remember being mad at God.
Gotcha.
And because I asked God to heal him, but even in that moment, God, it was a teaching lesson for me. It was like God was like, I did heal him.
Wow.
And so and that gave me peace. And so that's what I mean when I say like, where you're in the midst of chaos, God can give you peace, and where your strength ends is where his begins. Like I'm not just saying that, like it was true. Trying to grow my career, I went months not knowing how I was going to pay my bills. I went 4 years without being employed, and my bills were always paid.
Wow.
I always ate. I didn't miss a beat, and I know it was because God was carrying me.
That's awesome. Because people need to be encouraged by that. A lot of people are in that situation, and don't know how to get by, and having issues professionally, having personal issues at the same time, and some people really give up.
Yeah.
Some people really cave in, and some people fall into addiction during those times.
Yeah.
And to know that, you relied on God to kind of help you get through is a big deal.
Can I speak to what you said? You said a lot of people can't get through, and it's a reason for that. It's because they relied on their own strength.
That's true.
It's because they think that they can do it.
That's right.
It isn't until you realize that you can't do it without God. It's so funny. Today we were talking about the famous, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and we say that. We say it all the time. It's like you don't even have to be a believer to say it or have heard it. But to really understand that you can do all things through Christ.
Right, through Christ.
Because it's his strength that we need. And so whenever we feel like, oh, I have to make this happen, or I have to, you make it about you, that's hard.
Right.
And it is going to require partnership with God to like really get through the hardest things. So yeah.
I believe that. I personally believe that.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Right.
And in so many different aspects. That being said, We've talked before, and I know you're talking about your faith now. When we talk about you professionally in real estate, you actually imbibe your faith in the selling process with your clients, right? Explain
Absolutely.
that process, because if I want to buy a house and you talking about Jesus, like I could be like, hold up, Jesus is not staying at this house. I am. Like, explain that to me.
Listen, any opportunity I have to talk about God, I do. So
That's good.
from being at the closing table, or from people being discouraged, right? And I'll simply ask, like, do you believe in God? And if they tell me yes, I'm going in.
You already know.
And I'm like, hey, it's moments where I'm like, can I pray for you? I remember my friend by her house, and she was nervous to like go inside. I said, let's go inside and pray.
Wow.
So any opportunity I feel, whenever God says, hey, I just can't be ashamed, right?
Right.
And even if somebody said they wasn't a believer, it wouldn't stop me. I would probably watch how I said certain things, but like for the most part, if they say thank you, Lord, that's an end for me.
Right.
If they say thank God, that's an end. Like, don't play around with me, because like I'm looking for an opportunity to bring up God anyway. And I say things like, it might not sound biblical, but it is like, hey, what's for you is for you. You can't miss what's for you.
Right.
Or depending on the person, I'll say you can't miss what God has for you.
That's true.
And so I kind of established that in the beginning. I listen to what they say, and if they make references to God, then I just go in, and if they don't make references to God, I'll simply ask them, do you mind if I pray for you? Do you mind if we pray over this situation? Hey, I feel like you have a lot of anxiety. Do you mind if we pray before we go on our next tour? I haven't met anyone to say no.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How did you come by this faith? Like, where does it come from?
Okay, two things. One, my cousin Tiffany Miller. A lot of people know who she is in Birmingham anyway. Her wedding went viral. If you don't know, like, she's Tiffany Jones now. Oh my gosh, Tiffany Jones. Her wedding went viral. And I talked to her when she lost her mom every day. And while she was going through that process, she had this quote that she would say, or this thing she would say, faith over facts. So a lot of people say faith over fear, faith over this and that, but she said faith over facts, the facts that the doctor was saying that her mom wouldn't make it, but she did for a long time. And so watching her faith through that, she lost her mom, she lost her dad, she lost the father of her child. She went through so much adversity, but to watch her trust God through the process.
Wow.
It was like I had a front row seat of all the things I read about in the Bible where people had to have faith and heart, and not just death, but like I watched her trust God for her house, get it. I watched her trust God for her car, get it. I watched her trust God for her husband, get it. I watched her trust God through grief, be at peace.
Wow.
To have a front row seat to that, I was like, I want some of that.
Wow.
So I started to surrender, started to become serious about my faith. That was the first step. The second thing I did, God gives me a word every year personally. And so for 2022, 2023, and 2024, he gave me the same word. I was so frustrated. The first year he gave me surrender. I was like, all right, I got this.
Right.
I can surrender. 2023, he gave me surrender. I'm like, you just gave me surrender last year, but whatever. 2024, he gave me surrender. I'm like, all right, God, what am I doing wrong? And I woke up one day, May, June, and I was like, I'm going to take this seriously. Have your way. I did a 40-day fast, and my life has never been the same. I consecrated my life to God after that. And I think it's the best decision I ever made to like live for God on purpose.
Wow. That is so encouraging.
Yeah.
So if somebody's watching this today and they're trying to do it their way, and they just heard what you had to say, what would you want them to get out of that?
I would say, and this may not be for everyone, but this is for people who have a problem with control or control issues and or people pleasing. Let go. Like we hear the saying, let go and let God, but until you truly let go and let God be your guide, let God be your GPS, it's not gonna be easy. Like trying to figure it out on your own. I was out here doing stuff that didn't make sense. And until you're doing stuff that don't make sense, maybe it's not God. And I don't know, you take that with a grain of might be like, oh, this girl, she sounds crazy. No, I'm serious. Sometimes what God has you doing doesn't make sense, especially to your family. I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she didn't understand why I wouldn't just go get a job. Like, I had 10 years in corporate America, 10 years of supply chain experience, making six figures. I can go get a job tomorrow making a 160. But instead, I chose to be obedient to what God had me doing, which looked like struggle, which looked like failure. My mom didn't understand, so I was like, Ma, you know, I understand why you don't get it. I was like, but because I don't get it.
Wow.
I don't understand what God is doing in this moment, but I'm going to be obedient to what he's telling me to do. So obedience and relinquishing control by fully surrendering.
I got it. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that you are one of the special people in the city. I'm not the only person that thinks there's a lot of people that think very highly of Porshe Smiley. Everybody knows who you are. You do a lot of stuff, from all of this real estate stuff, and then you do event planning and decorating for events. Like, you do a lot of stuff to be extremely visible. But if people wanted to connect with you with something, how, based on what they heard from you today, how can they connect with you?
You know, I'm working on my LinkedIn tree, my linked tree or whatever, but Instagram, I feel like people have no problem with just DMing me. I stay on top of my DMs just because I don't want to miss a sale. I don't want to miss a person that is reaching out for a real estate deal. I don't want to miss a person that's reaching out for prayer. I have people that I pray with.
That's awesome.
And so I try to stay on top of that. So, and then from there, we can like take it off social media to kind of tend to a separate need. But yeah, Porshe Smiley on Instagram, Porshe Smiley on Facebook, Porshe Smiley on TikTok. I think my name is kind of unique, so I can just say my name and that's kind of it.
Yeah, you might have to spell it for people though.
Porshe. Porshe Smiley.
So if there was a young guy watching this today that's like, man, this girl sounds really interesting, like she's a real cool person, all those links she just gave you, you could DM her too.
That's hilarious. Everybody know the struggle is real in this dating world, so that is so funny. That's hilarious. But
you can thank me later, fellas. Hey, this has been another episode of Strick City Live, and it is so cool to be able to talk to you. Normally, I'm behind the camera.
I know.
Like, normally that's what I do, but this time I thought today we'll sit down and talk together because people need to know more about Porshe Smiley.
I appreciate it. This was so much fun.
Done deal. That's what's up. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. And the next one is coming soon. I don't know who I'm going to talk to, but I'm going to talk to somebody.